Recording recording has started. It's good evening, everybody. It is Monday, August 15th at 7 p.m. This is a meeting of the Wellfleet Municipal Affordable Housing Trust held pursuant to the open meeting law provisions which allow a virtual meeting to be held. The meeting will be recorded by the town of Wellfleet. Anybody else desiring to record the meeting may do so, provided they notify the chair and do not interfere with the progress of the meeting. We now have everybody except Mike. And first order of business is just announcements. I have several, really just to let you know what's on the calendar. First one is a select board meeting tomorrow evening where there will be a presentation on the Maurice's campground purchase. Second, on Wednesday, the 17th, the planning board will be holding a hearing on 3 proposed zoning bylaw changes. One would permit cottage colonies outside the National Seashore to be occupied year-round. The second will create a affordable dwelling development, which will allow developments which include a minimum of 25% affordable housing, or half?
Yes, 25.
25%. And a third one, which will allow development by right on undersized lots of larger than 10,000 square feet and by special permit on lots of less than 10,000 square feet, provided they're accompanied by a affordability restriction. And those will be on the special town meeting warrant. So we'll be discussing recommendation votes. Let's see, Maurice's working group meets this Friday at noon. On Monday, August 22nd, the Wellfleet Summer Residents will hold a housing presentation via Zoom at 7 p.m. I will participate, and I understand a couple of you will also be participating. On Wednesday, August 24th at 5:30, the Board of Health will hold a meeting in which they will consider the waiver request from Maurice's campground septic systems. And on Thursday, August 25th at 7 p.m., the Zoning Board of Appeals will convene again to continue working on the local comprehensive permit for 95 Lawrence Road. That's all I've got. Any other announcements?
I have a couple, Harry.
Go ahead, Elaine. Yep.
One of them, you might know this better than I do, but the small working group that's going to work with the housing consultant, Jen Goldson Associates, for our housing production plan is going to have an introductory meeting next week sometime.
Yes, yes.
I think it's the 25th, isn't it? From 9.
Yes.
45 to 10:20.
Yep, the 25th.
It's
right.
on the 25th at like 9:50 or something, some odd time, 9:45. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And on Wednesday, I'm going to be meeting with Rich Waldo and Ted Malone about Ted's request for the town to apply for funding for the infrastructure for Payne Hollow Road. See how that goes. And I just wanted to say that I did get an email about an additional ARPA funding round, $5 million for non-county governmental agencies, nonprofits, and for-profit organizations. And there's going to be info sessions on August 17th and 18th about that.
Thank you. I received that too. It just didn't make it onto my list here. There's a little fuzzy thinking going on with me because of that's what's going on. So
yeah.
Okay. Next item.
There's just too darn much going on, Harry.
There's a lot going on for August. Any status reports on housing related items from the Housing Authority, Local Housing Partnership, or on the 2 big projects that are going on?
Well, I mean, Maurice's will be covered tomorrow night at the select board. And also tomorrow night at the same time, simultaneously, is a meeting of the FinCom. And I think Michael DeVasto and maybe either Farouk or Nancy Najmi will be there. And I'm not sure who else.
At the FinCom, Sharon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm presenting the CPA part of it.
Oh, you are at the FinCom meeting. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, anything else on that? Okay, next is recommendation votes on town meeting articles, and there are actually 6 of them. There are 3 that relate to Maurice's campground and 3 that relate to the zoning amendments. So I'm going to share my screen and we can talk about to share. Okay, here we go. So and the first article is Article 6, which is the acquisition vote itself. And it is a pretty vanilla article, calls for purchase. It uses standard language to acquire by purchase, gift, and or eminent domain. But in fact, the transaction, if it proceeds, will be a purchase and authorizes the borrowing of $6,500,000 for the purpose of the article. Discussion on this article?
That 6,500,000 would be reduced by whatever we paid for the 3 acres. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, it's an authorizing vote. It doesn't mean that the treasurer will actually can borrow up to that amount, but not necessarily that amount.
Yep.
So you'll see in the CPA article that follows it, there's some CPA money involved. So,
Harry, I just want to correct what amend what Sharon said. The town will still have to borrow essentially 6.5 million less 188,000. It's the CPA money will be used to help pay for the debt service, reduce the amount substantially that has to be borrowed. There is some discussion now with the town about the outstanding balance for the CPA and whether we can find some more money. But as we sit, the amount of actual dollars going towards that is the unreserved FY23 dollars, which are 188,000.
Okay. Anybody want to offer a motion as a proposed recommendation on Article 7?
Move to recommend.
Okay.
Second.
And seconded by Kathleen. Excuse me. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Roll call vote. Jim?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Elaine?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That's 6 in favor and none opposed. Okay, next one is, if we go down past the summary, is to, and maybe Gary, you can explain this because this is the CPA part of the transaction.
Sure. So the CPA did vote $1,050,000 to provide support for the purchase, and the town decided to put in the resolution in the article the amount of money we have in 2 pots of reserve funds. The first one being the one, how much is it? 144, and the second one is 41. I misspoke when I said 188. It's actually 186. Of money that we have in the CPA coffers now that we can apply to the purchase, so the purchase price would be reduced. And we also did receive, the town received the appraisal for the property. I think everybody knows that the appraisal came in at $650,000 for those 3 acres. So the amount of money that would come from the
Oh, you froze there for a minute, Gary. So does that mean that we would have to reduce the amount, and we would see the reduced amount coming from the CPA funding?
Correct, Harry. We suggested that in the warrant, because we got the actual number before the warrant closed, that they reduce it, but for whatever reason they left it where it is. So in the town meeting itself, I understand the article will be for $650,000.
It's generally a lot easier to amend numbers downward at town meeting than upward.
Sure. So anyway, be that as it may, the amount of the appraisal is $650,000. 645. I literally got off the plane got home 15 minutes ago from Chicago. Wow. I apologize, but I think it's 645 is the appraisal, and the 186 is the amount the CPA will provide an upfront fee money, and will provide the support up to a total of 650 during the life of the loan.
Okay, Mike DeVasto has joined us now. So on Article 7 on the CPA funding, is there a motion for a recommendation?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, so we'll take a roll call vote again. Jim?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Mike? Yeah,
He's muted.
I did admit him. We'll come back to him. Elaine?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Mike, aye.
And Mike votes aye. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have 7 in favor, none opposed. That motion carries. The third, Maurice's one, is Article 8, which proposes an initial funding for the operating expenses of the campground of $225,000. Again, discussion?
Could I clarify one thing, Harry?
Sure.
We learned, I think, at the last Maurice's task force meeting, that even though there would be substantial revenue produced from the campground, that money cannot be used until the spring town meeting authorization. So it's so that although we anticipate getting receipts, and we actually can't apply that money to the cost of operating the campground over the next 9 months. And so that's why this request is in there for $225,000 to cover expenditures now. And we hope to get that money back and more in the receipts that would be considered at the Springtown meeting.
Yeah, generally receipts have to be appropriated before they can be spent. It's not enough that they end up in the treasury. And that has to happen at a town meeting. So is there a motion for a recommendation on Article 8?
Move
So
to recommend.
What's repeat that, please.
Move to recommend.
Okay.
Second.
And Kathleen seconds again. Roll call vote. Kathleen?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Elaine?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That's 7 in favor, none opposed. Okay, so now we got to go to the zoning article. So excuse me while I scroll down a bit. The first of them is to change the definition of cottage colony to remove the year-round restriction for cottage colonies outside of the National Seashore District. So it's a little bit tricky. You can see here where the seasonal occupancy restriction is lined out, but then there's a second definition of a cottage colony in the National Seashore Park that's, I believe, identical to the original cottage colony definition. And then they changed the use table since they added a new category of cottage colonies in the National Seashore Park that prohibit them. So the effect of this is to allow year-round use of cottage colonies that are outside the National Seashore. Debate, discussion?
I know we've talked about this before. Does this leave it up to each cottage colony to decide if they want to do this?
Well, it would be permitted as a matter of right because the definitions changed. So an existing cottage colony could choose to do this. A lot of cottage colonies in Wellfleet have in their master deed language that says any change in the use provision requires the affirmative consent of the appeals board. And that dates back to when there was a concern that the seasonal use restriction might be subject to some abuse. So there's still another, I think, step that has to be undertaken for these cottage colonies that have seasonal use restrictions in their master deed.
Who's the
and it doesn't require a deed restriction. This would be as a matter of right, and it wouldn't be part of our subsidized housing inventory or anything.
It's not. It doesn't even require year-round use.
No, you're quite right.
It would just allow year-round use if the cottage colony either updated their master deed or didn't have a restriction in their deed.
Yep, correct.
Yep.
Harry, I apologize. I'm seeing this for the first time now, but with respect to affordable housing, which is really our mandate, our charge, what effect will this have?
Well, I think the hope is that some of these units will be rented year-round, and that because of their size will be command rents that are affordable, but they won't be part of our subsidized housing inventory, so they won't change our percentage of compliance. But I think the hope is that they will in fact provide some affordable units.
Potentially, they could be like ADUs.
Yeah, there's no guarantee.
People could also purchase them because oftentimes our small seasonal cottages, for example, a brownie's cabin or a deck two, are much less expensive than a single family home. Yeah. So I think it opens up the potential for some of our year-round younger people and families and even seniors, to perhaps downsize to them. So rentals or ownership.
It expands diversity of, housing.
Yeah, and I'll just say there aren't very many year-round condos in the town of Wellfleet, So when it does come to being able to purchase a condo, that's like an accessible thing in most communities that, people of modest means can at least buy a condo, and that the opportunity just doesn't exist in Wellfleet.
That's true. There are a few that I know of. I think deck two is one. No, it's not.
There's only one.
No, there's only one unit. Yeah.
And a lot of associate. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's all right. You would know more than me. I was just going to say that a lot of them have one year-round unit because that's what's allowed. Right.
Yeah, there was this sort of fiction that one would become a manager's unit, and it's to some degree it's a bit of a fiction.
Well, I think a lot of times when some of these associations were made into condominiums, there wasn't one owner, and the owner lived in a year round, and then all the other ones they rented. And so the idea being that they would be used as they had been used.
Excuse me. So do we want to make a recommendation on this article?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, what would somebody want to offer a motion?
I move to recommend
Okay.
article.
Second.
What is the number? I'm not.
Now this is 16.
Article 16.
Okay, and the second was from Kathleen, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Further debate? Seeing none. Okay, Jim.
Aye.
Gary.
I just don't, can I abstain, Harry,
Sure.
at this point? Thank you.
Mike.
Aye.
Elaine.
Aye.
Sharon.
Aye.
Kathleen.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That's 6 in favor, none opposed, 1 abstention. Okay, next one. This is a bit longer article, but you'll see there's a definition of what's called an affordable dwelling development, which is a parcel of 50,000 square feet or more containing at least 25% encumbered affordable dwellings, which means deed restricted, part of our SHI, catalog of affordable units. And it's a special permit use, I believe, and the second unit would be affordable, the fourth unit would be affordable, and any succeeding fourth unit would be affordable, if I read it correctly. But the goal is to have 25% of the dwellings in a development like this affordable. There's a long, it's special permit use, and there's a fairly long list of criteria involved. But if a development like this were to proceed, it would add some units to our inventory of affordable housing. Questions, comments, additional?
Well, this is a bylaw we already have. They're doing something to make it uniform somehow, right?
Yeah. I think
we have an affordable, flexible.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the additional text is underlined here. And so we have a statement of purpose. We have the planning board as the permit granting authority. And then there's a whole list of requirements that go with this. So do we want to weigh in on this?
Did this come from the planning board?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know
it doesn't say in the article that it's by petition. Let me go to the end of it, because usually that's where that would be.
I don't think
requested
it was
by the select board.
Harry, to the best of my knowledge, we haven't produced a single unit under the previous bylaw.
Right.
That's my understanding also.
Right. So I'm trying to understand, what does this correction do?
Yeah. Could we? This might be something that's going to be discussed at the planning board's open meeting on Wednesday. I wonder if we want to, reserve our vote for town meeting floor.
We can do that. There's a little bit of a timing challenge because the Monday the 4th, I think, is Labor Day, if I miss my guess.
Yeah.
So we would have to meet again sometime in either next Monday or not. We can't do next Monday, but the following Monday we'd have to meet. Or we'd have to have a special meeting on the day of town meeting early or something. I don't know.
Never mind.
Okay, what's your pleasure? Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I think it was an attempt by the planning board to make possible, if there were some larger lots that were being developed, that this would happen. So I don't think we should be against it, but
yeah, I don't really want to stand in the way of something, even if it hasn't shown much promise so far.
Right.
I'm just trying to understand, given our experience with the existing law, what is it that they're hoping to solve with this?
It really looks to me like this is just a cleanup, because if you see the summary,
Right.
I'm not sure it actually makes it any more comprehensible, but
yeah,
you know, if it does, then great. I read it this afternoon and I thought, oh, well, okay.
I read it about half an hour ago, so
yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what they've changed in here, but I think that the intent of the bylaw actually the bylaw itself actually gives people an opportunity to create additional kind of lots in a cluster development type situation. So if you put an affordable unit, you can get a bonus. You get a density bonus. So you can have, let's say you had the minimum I think is a 1.5 acre lot. And if you have that 1.5 acre lot, you would normally be able to subdivide that into 2 lots. But under this bylaw, you would be able to make 3 lots if one of them was affordable. So there is an incentive for people to do it, but I don't think it's well understood. And you have to have over 1.5 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says 50,000 square feet, I think.
Yep.
Further thoughts?
I would vote to recommend.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Further discussion before we vote on this? Any other comments or concerns? Okay, seeing none. Kathleen.
Aye.
Sharon.
Aye.
Elaine.
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
Gary.
Staying.
Jim.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. So we have 6 in favor, none opposed, 1 abstention. And the last one, affordable housing lots. This one has 2 pieces. It allows construction of a dwelling on a lot of not less than 10,000 square feet of contiguous upland, provided it's restricted. So it goes into the subsidized housing index. And also, excuse me. And second, on lots less than 10,000 square feet, it allows the same flexibility with a special permit. So it creates an opportunity for someone that has a lot which is not currently buildable to build on it in exchange for a permanent affordability restriction. So the lot would
have the year-round requirement too, doesn't it?
Well, it says shall be in compliance. Well, here's the language right at the top of the screen. I assume inclusion in the subsidized housing inventory is year-round housing. Am I guessing about that?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. All right. Okay. I'm in.
Okay. Any other comments? So you can see that the affordable lot, which is the 10,000 square feet or higher, is permitted in all districts except the National Seashore. And the affordable undersized lot is special permit in all districts except the National Seashore. Is there somebody want to make a motion on the recommendation?
Vote to recommend.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, that's Jim. Okay, let's see. Jim, roll call vote. Jim?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Elaine?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 7 in favor, none opposed. Okay, so that takes care of the town meeting votes. So I'm going to stop sharing here for a minute. And we'll go back here and look at my agenda. Housing Angel event results. Somebody speak to that?
Sure. Elaine, you want to lead off?
Well, it was a wonderful success. We sold 145 tickets, or 142 tickets, and had 5 special guests. The woman from Mass Housing Partnership who awarded us our Housing Heroes Award attended, which was really nice. So we raised about $5,400, and since then we did get sponsorships from Cape Cod 5 and William Ravis, and so there have been donations coming in since then, which is great. And everybody really commented on the community spirit and how happy people were, and it just really felt like the community trust that Gary put forward, as opposed to the affordable trust.
Excellent.
I would add a couple of things. First, I thought Stephen and all the musicians did a great job, but Stephen in particular did a Herculean job of putting the show together. So I would like to make a formal motion of thank you to Stephen Russell for all of his work on the housing benefits, Housing Angels benefit.
Maybe we should prepare like a Housing Angel certificate.
Yes, we basically touched on that, Sharon. I love that idea. So, but I have no artistic skills, so.
And by the way, that email from the Cape Cod 5 thanking me for my application for the grant, somebody did that for me without telling me. I can claim no credit whatsoever for that.
I thought I told you, Harry.
Huh?
I thought I had let you know.
Wait, let's go back. I actually would like to make a motion.
Yes.
To thank Stephen. I've got a couple.
Okay.
So is there I make that motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
That's Sharon.
Yes.
Discussion.
Can we have an affirmation of this?
We'll do a roll call vote. Jim?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Elaine?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 7 in favor, none opposed.
We have already received an additional $3,000 in donations following up on the benefit. And one of my thoughts last year was,
We lost the audio, Gary.
I lost my screen here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So last year or the year before, I can't recall, we had the insert in the fall tax bill. And I wonder if we want to follow up on the Housing Angels program to put forward an insert this year. And if so, what would be the ask or the focus of that?
Excuse me. Do we know what we asked for last time?
I think last time, what was it, support of the buy down?
We did do one in support of the buy down that was quite effective.
I mean, we raised well in excess of $50,000 from, I don't know if that's directly attributable to the ask, but in total at end of the year, and end of year seems to be the right time. So the question is, do we want to do it? And if so, what should we ask for?
It could also be affordable ADU incentives.
If we had a program for that, or it could be, maybe.
I think a simple list of all we do, like 6 things bulleted, could cover it. We were actually encouraged by someone that came to the benefit to do a tax insert. So I think we should. I think it's a pretty effective thing.
I did take the liberty of making an inquiry to Rebecca, and as Rebecca Eldridge, as far as she knows, no one has already come forward with a request, so we could probably get it done.
Yeah, there are only 2 requirements. One of them is that it be approved by the select board.
Right.
And the second one is that it not increase the postage cost of mailing the tax bill.
Right.
So that's why they've almost all been a third of a sheet inserts, so there can be more than one.
Right.
I think that's an excellent idea, and I don't see why we don't just do it.
Yep.
Okay. Do we need to vote on that, Harry, or do you want to?
Okay, well, let me just, I'll tell you what, I'll make a motion to authorizing the trust to pursue an insert in the fall tax bill soliciting donations, and leave it to you folks to decide the content, but just take the authorizing vote authorizing it. So that's my motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
What are we going to do from here? Who's going to be in charge of that?
Well, it's a good question.
Gary.
Somebody more artistically talented than I, which would be almost anybody.
I mean, we have that great little Housing Angel logo that we have on our website. It can't be that hard for us to capture some of that. I mean,
space is at a premium, so I don't think artistry here, but what are we asking for?
We're asking for money.
Yeah, I think we're asking
money for what?
I think to support our programs.
Yes, so the checklist.
Yeah,
we've got a lot of good things going, and here they are. Why don't I put in the formal request, if this is okay with the committee?
Yeah.
I'll make the formal request to the select board. We don't actually, we can work on the actual content, but between can we get money and our address, there are only a few lines left. So we have to be parsimonious in our message.
Okay. We have a motion to authorize requesting a tax bill insert soliciting donations to the Housing Trust. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? I don't think we need to be more specific than that for the purposes of a motion.
Nope.
Okay, roll call vote. Kathleen?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Elaine?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That's 7 in favor, none opposed. Anything else on the Housing Angels?
That there will be some more, there's some gallery activity. We did have the one gallery opening with Tracy Hay, and that is, there's an unspecified amount of the income going to the Housing Trust, and there'll be 2 more gallery openings. And also I've heard from Paul and Ann Suggs that they're thinking of like auctioning off a painting. I don't know exactly how they're going to do it or when they're going to do it, but that would also be in benefit to the Housing Trust.
Excellent.
So
They did that in the past once. Paul had a painting at Cape Cod 5.
Yeah, that was our effort too. That was probably the first time we actually kind of did that.
Can we just back up for a second? Are we thanking all of the musicians that participated in the Housing Angels?
We've already done it.
I was counseled by Stephen that all they expect is a really nice email. And
Perfect.
I sent them a really nice email.
Perfect.
And he did also.
Okay.
Supposedly that's
great.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Sharon.
That's all right. Anything else on the Housing Angels? My voice is starting to go. Next is the Mass Community Investment Tax Credit. And I'm going to share my screen again. And this is, oh, there we go. I had, back in July when this first came up, I had taken a look at the statute and taken a look at the state website, and it really looks like it's not a good fit for us because you either need to have an elaborate plan with a track record, or you need to have these are the things that the statute requires as part of the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a second category, which is community support organizations, but the statute limits it to not more than 2 such organizations at any given time. And there are currently 2, both in Boston.
Not more than 2 in the whole state?
Yep.
Wow.
So in terms of the community development corporations, CDP is one of them. And I think there's one on Nantucket. But I don't think that we can fit into the framework. You can see here, it shall include the following elements, and there's a list of a whole bunch of them. We're not there yet.
Right.
So I don't think this is a fit for us, and my inclination is not to pursue it further unless somebody else has a different perspective.
No, it's maybe something to think of. Thank you for doing this homework on it, Harry. I really appreciate
happy to do it.
And it seems like, you know, it's something to kind of put in our pipe and smoke a while, and you know, not right now.
Okay.
I agree.
So let's see. Back up. Let me go back to my agenda. 90 Freeman Ave. I understand that the assistant town administrator said not until after the special town meeting. My sense from talking to her is that she has a substantial workload and really just doesn't have any more bandwidth to do anything right now.
So I did hear Rich Waldo say at the Wellfleet seasonal residence that his hope is that if town meeting approves a HR person, that person will be taking some of the load off of Rebecca.
And that is on the warrant.
Yes. So hopefully.
I'm going to go back to financial support for ADUs. I skipped that because I wanted to deal with these 2 things. The other one is the housing production plan update. And as Elaine mentioned, there is a kickoff meeting next week for the small kind of steering group. So there really isn't anything else to report there. But let's see. Next is support for ADUs, and I'm going to share my screen again to, this is the document I got from Elaine. I think Elaine and Sharon, is that right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you want to summarize it, Sharon?
Well, okay. So we have met with CEP on this, and we've also been doing a fair amount of research and asking questions of the town. And once again, everybody in the town is so overwhelmed that it's really hard to get any answers. So the bottom line is, I think that Elaine and I feel that we should go forward with a forgivable, no interest loan to someone who's willing to rent affordably for 5 years, and have CDP manage that. And it could kind of go into the pot. They have their $10,000 incentive program, but it does not have any affordability piece. So this would be for ADUs in Wellfleet with an affordability piece. And so then a prospective homeowner or, ADU builder could get up to $10,000. So I think we decided that we would like to go ahead with that as kind of a pilot. We did not draw up any documents, unless you did today, Elaine.
There's just a little draft proposal.
Okay. But then we think that there's, so CDP said there's like up to $4,000 for initial investigation, like site plan and architect and stuff like that. And the Boston program was $50,000 plus of a no interest loan, but that's for ADUs within a building. And we're also, I think that the big piece right now is, I think we should go ahead with the $10,000. I think right now a big stumbling block for us is the septic piece and the way it's being interpreted in Wellfleet, and then layer that in with new septic regulations being proposed by the Board of Health, which is going to greatly increase the cost. But on the plus side, the Board of Health seems to feel like there's money coming down the pike that will help to pay for some of these things. So while we can go ahead with the no interest loan now, we may not get much traction until we get some of these other things resolved.
This is consistent with kind of the way I envisioned a program like this, with the forgivable 5-year loan. I might suggest that if we were going to do this, that we commit a specific amount of money, say $30,000 or $40,000, so that in the odd chance that we're inundated with these, we're not committing money we don't have. So I'd suggest that if we want to go forward with this, I'd support certainly $10,000 in exchange for 5 years of affordability, and I'd be willing to commit $30,000 or $40,000 to a program like that. Whether we'd be fortunate enough to spend all of that, I don't know, but it's another arrow in our quiver, as they say.
Start. The other thing that I really want, once, maybe once, if we get this HR person or whatever, I don't know, I would really like to see the town. I hear everybody saying housing, but I think we really need to show our commitment in a little bit bigger way, like in terms of ADUs, like perhaps with, and Rebecca roughly said, well, you can't really do the streamlined permitting, but I'd like to explore that more. Are there fees that we can waive? Are there ways that we can, as a town, make it easier for someone to move forward with this, in addition to just giving them money? So that's something that needs to be investigated further when everybody catches their breath.
Yeah, but this is a start.
Yep.
And I think, just as a general comment on town of Wellfleet governance, I think we're long past the point of doing more with less. I think we're at the point of, if we want to do more, we're going to have to spend more.
Yep, I agree.
I think we're 10 years past that anyway. And part of this proposal would be administration by the CDP.
That's
Yes.
was our, yeah.
How do people feel like about setting a maximum that we're willing to spend on this program initially?
I think that's a good.
In a fiscal year?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to be limited to a fiscal year,
Yeah.
Michael. We could, frankly, I don't know how long it would take for the program to get up and running and for people to actually be in a position to take use of it. So until we exhaust the funds that we appropriate, the only thing I would add to what Harry said was the cost for CDP to administer the program should come out of the same bucket of money.
Right, and
So-
the CDP asked if we decide to do something like this, that we give them a proposal that they can respond to.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly don't think the problem is going to be that our bank is going to get broken by the amount of people that want to do it. So limiting how many we do is probably not our biggest issue.
No, it's not a big issue, but it is. I think it is prudent to say, this is how much we're going to budget.
Right, and then if that gets used up, then we can come back to the table.
Right. So I guess just to, I'm not going to make a motion, but I'd propose, say, $41,800. That's $40,000 plus 4 times $450 to support a program of grants of $10,000 per owner or per EDU. In exchange for an affordability restriction of not less than 5 years.
Honestly, I think if one owner is prepared to build 2 or 3, I don't mind giving them the money.
Okay.
I agree.
What do you think, Elaine?
Yep, I agree.
Okay. Do we want to talk about this more, or does somebody want to propose a motion, or do you want me to propose something along the lines?
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
When would this take effect?
Well, presumably we have funds now that we can spend. So I think it would take effect once we've got to the point of, developing the required documents and getting the CDP to formally agree to monitor the program for us. So I don't think it has to wait for some future town meeting or anything.
Well, it might just, one concern that I have is what if there are going to be changes to the regulations, how would that impact on this program?
Well, it certainly makes septic systems more expensive, but it doesn't change the ADU bylaw itself. It just means that Board of Health compliance might be more challenging.
And do we know what that compliance is going to require going forward? I mean, is it clear now what the Board of Health, any changes that they may be making with respect to septic requirements?
They held a hearing on that last week, but I couldn't muster the stamina to.
I did watch it, but I think that you probably in your water commissioner role probably know. Sam, can you turn that off, please? Probably know more than most of us, but my understanding is they're going to have another hearing in September, and they're looking for public feedback. And then once they're hoping that the state will approve the plan, the big plan. And if that happens, there's sort of 2 things going forward. If the state approves the plan, there's one path forward. If the state doesn't approve the plan, there's a different path forward. So that's sort of pending. But in any case, they made it pretty clear that any additional unit, dwelling unit on a lot is going to require a separate tank, which is what we've been trying to get clarity on. Damn.
Thanks, Sharon.
Harry,
was that for a separate tank for units in the same building?
An additional unit on a property. Our Board of Health has been ruling that an additional unit on the property, whether it's inside the house or outside of the house, is going to require a second tank.
I don't understand that, but
well, it's you know, and it's an issue that's being explored in many ways, and it's not being enforced across the Cape uniformly at this point. But I think all the Cape towns are in the process of upgrading their regulations. So stay tuned.
Right. Well, that was my concern, was because it seems like it's still somewhat fluid as to when this would be actually available to anyone who chooses to use it. We would hope that the regulations would be clear by that time as to what is allowed or required, you know, from the Board of Health.
I think they're pretty clear right now. They've been enforcing the second tank rule on applications for ADUs. But what's not clear is, are they going to require, like, does new construction or the addition of a new unit require an upgrade to an IA system, which is what they really want.
Right, right. That's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, well, it's a valid concern.
I mean, as we looked into this, I mean, the CDP told us they've had 4 people from Wellfleet contact them. 2 of them are going ahead with their ADUs. 1 probably has some financial concerns, and mostly around the septic issue. But, you know, there is the Barnstable County $10,000 loan program, and we understand there is a town program, which I have inquired about, but haven't been told yet how you find out about it. So there's some assistance now, there's help, you know, if someone needs to do this.
And that's what we need to really get all the nuts and bolts collected.
And I guess my sense is that if the Title V issue becomes a big stumbling block, we may have to look at perhaps a more generous program. But I'd like to start somewhere and get some program fleshed out and see if we can get some traction with it. And if we need to modify it, we can modify it.
I agree.
Right. That's why we were calling it a pilot project. So
okay, so here's a proposal, which I can frame as a motion if you want me to, is that we allocate $41,800 for up to 4 $10,000 grants for ADU construction conditioned on an acceptable affordability restriction. And I mean up to 100% of AMI by that. And compliance to be monitored either by the town or a vendor hired by the town. So we don't make it specific to a particular organization until we've reached an agreement with them. So that's what I would propose, and I can propose it as a motion if you'd like, or we can talk about it and somebody can propose something different.
That sounds good.
You said.
I think sounds good.
Okay, so I move that, what I just said. Is there a second?
And I'll second.
Is that Jim? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any more debate? Okay, roll call vote. Jim?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Lane?
Aye.
Sharon?
Aye.
Kathleen?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That is 7 in favor, none opposed. And I guess we
Harry, I actually just abstain from this.
okay.
Vote.
Okay. 7 in favor, none opposed, one abstention. Mike. We still have some work to do in terms of documentation and circling back to the CDP, but it's a start.
Yes. How do we want to do that, Harry, to get back to them?
Well, they gave us a proposal.
They asked us for a proposal. Oh,
Well,
they
at one point they gave us a proposal.
For monitoring, yes.
And I guess we could go back to them and ask them if that proposal is still on the table. And if so, we'd be inclined to accept it. And I don't know what we need for documents, presumably some kind of an agreement that a property owner would sign.
They said they would make their loan agreement available.
Okay.
There's no registry of deeds component to that, right? There's nothing.
I think there is, yeah.
I think there is, because I think you want to record a mortgage and then 5 years later discharge it.
Right.
So that if there isn't compliance, there is some incentive to consider compliance.
Right. I believe there's a cost to do that too.
Yeah, there is.
We would want them to handle.
Yeah, we may have recording fees that we have to pay also, or that somebody has to pay.
Well,
generally, yeah, go ahead, Aileen.
No, I'm sorry. Their monitoring proposal was only the 450
right.
per unit. So how do we want to propose the $41,800 to them?
I don't know off the top of my head what recording fees for mortgages are right now.
Well, we can ask them to come back.
Yeah, and they've got to be close to $200 these days.
That's a one-time fee, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then when the mortgage gets discharged, there's another document to be recorded that also has a fee. But usually you just send that to the property owner and it's up to them to record it. Okay. So will somebody go back to the CDP and ask those questions?
Sure. Yeah, I don't think we're meeting this week, but maybe next week.
Well, we can still send them something, whether they're meeting or not.
So is that something that you can do, Elaine? Thank you.
Sharon and I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And stop sharing. Let me go back. I think, you know what I neglected to put on here was a letter in support of 95 Lawrence Road. As I look back, we did one in July.
Right.
So I'm not sure why we need to do another one. So I'm inclined to leave that and get back to Chris Bates and say, here's our letter from last time. Do you need more? And I will undertake to do that.
Harry, would you share that with the Housing Authority and the partnership as well? Yep. It was unclear to me whether we needed to do another letter from Chris's email.
Yeah, what I got from talking to Becky roughly was that somewhere buried in this process was a request for a letter from either the local housing partnership or the Affordable Housing Trust. And I think all three bodies generated a letter back in July, because I know our letter really followed the one the other two groups did quite closely.
And for the sake of disclosure, the partnership followed the one done by the Housing Authority.
Yeah, and ours I think differed by a comma or something. So let me I'll undertake to close the loop on that and see if we need to do anything else. I did prepare a draft, but I don't have an agenda item for it. So we'll come back to that next time.
I liked your draft, though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to talk about, well, two things. One of them is future agenda items and meeting dates. And I took the liberty of looking at the tide charts.
I saw that. Good for you.
And so here are 4 dates, one in each of the last 4 months of the year. They're all Mondays, they're all at 7 p.m., and they all correspond fairly closely to the time of high tide. The Monday, November 21st one, I think, is the Monday before Thanksgiving, and I don't know if any of you will be traveling that week or not. So those are dates for your consideration. I thought if we could settle on a schedule of dates, we wouldn't have to spend endless time talking about it at each meeting.
So I'm sorry, Harry, what are the dates?
I need to take the additional step of sharing my screen.
Telling us what they are.
There we go. So I went, these are all Mondays. They're all at 7 p.m. And you'll see in the second column, excuse me, there's an accommodation to Mike, the times of high tide.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That all looks to me.
So that would mean, absent some housing emergency, we wouldn't meet again until after the special town meeting. So I don't need a vote on this, but if anybody has any further suggestions.
Can't promise I'll be in town the whole time, but I'll do my best.
Yeah.
Are those the dates we're proposing? The 19th, the 30th, the 21st, and the 19th?
Yep. Okay. And if we have to change them, we have to change them. But I thought at least we'd try and be a little proactive.
I think that's great.
What about agenda items?
Harry, I have one.
Yep. Go ahead.
We hope to, the Housing Authority hopes to issue a request for applications for another buy down award in the 4th quarter, with the award going in the 1st quarter.
Mm-hmm.
This was money that was approved at the June town meeting.
Mm-hmm.
There is no funds available currently, and there is no request in for buy down assistance.
Okay.
So I'd like to put on the agenda that we consider funding the buy down program from the trust.
Is this the assistance or the buy down itself?
I'm sorry, did I misspeak? This is the down payment assistance program.
Oh, okay. Okay. And obviously feel free to email me with other agenda items right up until when I post.
We should probably talk about 90 Freeman again.
Yep.
It might be good to put the buy down on too, because, you know, we had initially asked CPA for additional funding beyond the 185, but it got cut back to make sure the playground got funded. So we're about to find out what the upper limits of the house prices are going to be that qualify. So we might need to talk about supplementing that 185 with some trust money.
Okay. Anything else on? So I'll plan on September 19th unless something happens. That happens to be, of course, it's my 52nd wedding anniversary.
Oh.
You picked the date.
It happened last year too, I think.
That's not fair.
We can pick another date, Harry.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was what fit with the tide.
Don't base it on the tide, Harry.
Gosh.
I'll live.
Well, if we back it up a week, it's probably going to be it would be fine. That would make it the 12th of September, which would be right after town meeting.
That's
And
fine.
we wouldn't have had the vote yet.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had the override vote yet, no.
I feel like we should have our meeting after that. And I feel like on the agenda, there should be time for celebration.
Uh,
Well, does it have to be a Monday?
no, it doesn't. I don't know when the override vote is scheduled. Hang on. Usually it says somewhere up in the beginning of the warrant.
Yeah, usually Monday or Tuesday.
Seen it somewhere.
I can't remember. I think we might have changed it to Tuesday because everybody else has their elections on Tuesday.
Is it right on the cover?
I thought it was on the first page, Harry. Go back to the top.
Yeah. All the way.
There you go.
September 20th.
Oh, not till the 20th. Wow.
Wow.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
it's only,
yeah.
it's only,
Tuesday.
that's only 10 days.
That's a long
So
time.
then what if we meet on the 26th?
Okay, we can do that.
It's Rosh Hashanah, if that means anything to anyone.
Well, it's not a problem for me, but
It's not a problem for me.
Was that the 24th, the next Monday, or what?
26th.
26th is the next Monday.
Oh.
And then we'd be meeting the following Monday if it's
Well,
October.
we'd have to adjust the schedule after
Can we
that.
just skip September?
We could.
how are we going to celebrate?
We have so many other housing things going on. We can
we can-
kind of meet in the streets.
Okay, you want to postpone it till October, whatever it was, 3rd, I think it was.
3rd. Yeah, that's okay.
And if we need to meet, we will.
Yep, okay. Okay,
And
last,
have a nice anniversary.
thank you.
Can I just ask anything on Old Kings Highway? Kathleen, have you heard anything new on Old Kings Highway?
We're still waiting to hear from the judge. It's completely up to them when they respond.
Thanks.
Yeah, I tried a case once and we waited 26 months for the judge to do something. My client was wild about that.
Bite your tongue, Harry.
I don't. They're not supposed to do that. Okay. Minutes of July 11th. Any corrections, additions?
I had no comments.
Anybody have any comments?
Nope.
Nope.
I wasn't there.
Somebody want to make a motion to approve the minutes of July 11th?
So moved.
Okay, that's Mike.
Second.
That's Jim. We'll take a roll call vote. Kathleen?
I wasn't there, so I'll just abstain.
Okay. Sharon?
Aye.
Elaine?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 6 in favor, none opposed. Kathleen abstains. Okay. How about a motion to adjourn?
Oh, so moved.
Second.
Okay, so Sharon, Kathleen, it is, what time is it? 8:15. That's not bad.
Not
Really
bad.
much better.
Okay, roll call vote to adjourn. Jim,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Elaine,
Aye.
Sharon,
Aye.
Kathleen.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That's 7 in favor, none opposed. It is 8:15. We are adjourned. Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you.
Harry, feel better.
I will, sooner or later, I'll feel better. Yes.
Get rest.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.